every time I jam to it.
It's nice. It's a snazzy intro. It is all of what I hoped it would be. Again, thank you to Danny G. Leal on Twitter for the phenomenal work. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Curtis's Podcast Network. This is this AFC South show number 106, and we are live. So make sure to hit us in the comments section with any questions you've got about your team. We've got somebody here for you. I'm the Texans fan on the channel. Of course, with me, as always, we've got Isaiah, our resident Jags fan. We've got Blake, our resident Titans fan. And we've got Sir Jeffrey Steckel. He was recently knighted by the Queen or the King, whatever. Whichever one's not dead. He's the one that was knighted. Can't remember which one. But so yeah, he's our Colts fan, and together we're like the Infinity Gauntlet of the AFC South fandom. So strap in, strap on, whatever is appropriate, and let's get it. We're in for a lively show tonight. We've got one AFC South game on the docket, Texans and Jags. We'll get to that one last, but we got Titans traveling to Cleveland to go face Mr. Massage Parlor himself, and then the Colts travel to the old home, traveling to Baltimore, where I'm sure a lot of those Baltimore fans are still a little salty about them moving.
They won't even put Colts on the scoreboard. They always put Indy. They will. They're still bitter.
Can't wait to see Griffin cover Ridley. Yeah, it's going to be a rough one out there for the Texans. We'll get into that later. Already, Robert in the chat.
You can't wait to see Griffin not cover Ridley.
Yeah, exactly.
This could be his career game.
They're probably going to put
minimum 250.
Probably Steven Nelson, but anyway, not the point. We're trying to grow the channel. We're at 360 subscribers as of this moment, and we're trying to hit 1,000. But let's have a more reasonable goal of 400 at this moment. Trying to hit 400 by the end of the month, so you can be a part of that. Help us grow. Share the video, share the stream, and let's get more engaging. We're also going to have a like goal on this one of let's do 25 again. Let's do 25 like goal. And so without any further ado, let's get into the Titans and the Browns. Blake, hit us with injuries and ways to win for your boys.
Okay, so for injuries, it's kind of long, but that's pretty normal if you're a Titans fan. You're used to reading a novel. You just got to sit down and plan out time to read our injury report because it's so long. And it's long this time, but nothing too extensive. Like Derrick Henry's on there, but it's mostly rest. D-Hop, same deal. One thing that looks tough, I didn't really get to mention this last time on a recap because I couldn't make it, was Peter Skoronski. So he was ruled out last week, not because of an injury. He had appendicitis. So he had to get his appendix removed. And he's not necessarily ruled out for this Sunday, but I think it'd be a miracle if he did play. And honestly, I don't think I want him playing this week. It's not like, he like has an ankle sprain or anything like that. Like this guy had like an actual medical condition. So I'd rather him just sit out for a little bit longer. I'm not even too disappointed in that because Dylan Radins actually came in and played pretty well, which is great for our second round pick from 4 years ago, finally actually playing football. An injury that happened today was Kyrus Jackson. He was a undrafted rookie from Georgia. He's our starting punt returner, kick returner. So he is potentially out. It's a lower body injury. They don't know if it's an Achilles or a knee or an ankle or like a foot. It just said lower body injury and he was limping. So we don't know the extent of that. I've seen conflicting things where he seemed okay after. Then I also saw that he was pretty hurt. So we'll see. It's something to keep an eye on. Amani Hooker, who missed last week with a concussion. I believe he's still in the concussion protocol. I'm sorry. No, he's not because he practiced in full today. So that should be good. He should be good to go on Sunday. T.R. Tart, Harold Landry, they're both just a little banged up, but they'll play. I think the only person that's going to be out is Peter Skoronski. And then I don't know about Kyrus Jackson, but he might be gone. So overall, relatively healthy. Nobody majorly hurt. So that's the injury report. Ways to win for the Tennessee. Honestly, it's going to be defense. Titans defense has been okay. Christian Fulton looks like he's going to return this week, unfortunately. But Massage Parlor Boy loves turning the football over. He's really good at getting sacked as well. So I think Danico Autry, Arden Key, Harold Landry, even Aziz Al-Shaair, they're just going to be bull rushing them. So I think we can get to I think we can get to Deshaun Watson a lot. And RIP Nick Chubb, which is terrible. I hate that he's hurt because he's a great man and an incredible football player. The fact that he's going to be out, I think that definitely tilts the favor in the Titans because that's just an element of the game that the Browns are just not going to have. They have okay receivers, but I still trust the Titans defense more than I trust the Browns offense. But the other side of the ball, which is going to be a little terrifying, you guys may have heard of him. Myles Garrett, dude's a freaking beast. He's just been destroying everybody. He was just a Browns pass rusher. He's okay. He's been, like always, he's just been lighting people up this year. Like, I feel like that guy, he just ages with wine. Like, he just keeps getting better and better every year. Like, he might be the best defensive player. I think he's finally bright overshadow Aaron Donald. So that'll be a matchup to look at, him versus Radens or Chris Hubbard. We'll see where he lines up at. And the Titans, our offensive line, we just keep shuffling dudes around, so we'll see. Also on the Titans offense, if Tannehill can play like he did last week, I think we can play well. I do like Tim Kelly. He's actually not predictable. And he's doing a lot of things he did with Houston, a little bit of options, flea flickers, a little bit of misdirection stuff, which I'm okay with because he's calling it when it should be called. Like, we had a triple option last week where Tannehill definitely could have tossed it to Henry, and Henry easily would have got the touchdown because he would just ran over whatever that corner was. But I like the fact that Tannehill ran into the end zone and was asserting his dominance. So I feel like his confidence is building, and if that can carry over to the Browns, I think this should be a win. So I actually have Tennessee winning. I wouldn't say by a lot because I don't think the Titans are ever going to just light up the scoreboard. But I think Tennessee could definitely win, maybe 28 or 24 to probably 17.
Okay, let me get a scratch sheet of paper.
Yeah, I think we might get some field goals, and just because Nick Folk is just a beast. I'm so glad the Titans actually have a kicker now that knows how to kick a football. And Nick Folk, he was the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week last week. So I don't know, maybe even 31. I'll show some support with the Titans this week. I'm gonna say 31-21 Tennessee.
Okay. Anybody want to jump in? Jeff?
Yeah. I didn't know if Isaiah was about to. Yeah, I think Nick Chubb is kind of the biggest blow to the Browns. I probably would have leaned a little more to Cleveland in that one just because of him, but yeah, with him out, I don't know. I feel like it'd be more of a defensive slugfest. I don't know if anyone's going to hit the high 20s or 30s. But I'd probably say, I'd say Titans win probably 17-13 or something like that.
I'll take it.
Yeah. They are a team that's defense is probably going to be carrying them to victory a lot of these games while the offense is kind of middling. Also, at some point, I thought you were going to call Deshaun Watson Jiffy Lube, which would also make a fair amount of sense. I was like, oh, that's good. That's creative. I wasn't even going to tell you no.
And we can also get royalties from Jiffy Lube for advertising for him.
Hey. Anyway, for me personally, I do have the Titans winning this game. The spread on this game is 3.5 points for whatever reason on FanDuel. I would definitely take the Titans to cover that spread and win this game. I'm going Titans 27, Browns. I'm going to give them 20, but I think that'll be garbage time score. It'll be 27-13 for a while, and then they'll score a touchdown late.
Yeah, Watson just seems so – he's he just keeps getting worse and worse. And dude, like, pushed a ref. Like, he should be suspended. Like, that's the most unlikable guy in the NFL, I feel like.
He's
Oh,
smooth.
yeah, he got his payday.
He denied that. He denied doing it.
He
I
denied
didn't
it.
do that.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course he
Sorry,
did.
Like, we have you on
Where
video.
have we heard that before?
Restrooms or
Yeah.
something. When I saw the video of him pushing a ref.
No, I think it's going to be a real defensive touch and go battle in that game. I think Deshaun Watson is going to pull it out in the end, though, and really force himself upon the Titans.
Oh my god! Keep
Uh,
going. No, see how far this goes.
anyways, yes, and I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think Tennessee could score some points and they could win that game. I've got the Browns winning it as of now. I'm just still not. I don't know. It's hard. Like you had one game where Watson or not Watson. You had one game where Tannehill was terrible, and one game where he was pretty all right. Is like who's Henry's not hurt, is he? He's 100%, right? Okay. Oh, Blake had like a weird look on his face, but it turns out he's just frozen. So that's why the weird look is there. But yeah, I don't know. I think that Deshaun Watson's not going to take no for an answer, and I think they're going to pull this one out. So that's about all I got to say for that one. He's such a meme.
Give me a score prediction.
21-14 Browns win.
All righty. All right. While Blake is freezing, and figuring out what
Must
to
be
do
cold
there.
up there.
It must be. It's
Oh,
subject
there he
temperatures.
goes.
Yep, he'll be back in a second.
All right, TF. No.
Doug Fox, jump on in.
Let's transition
Dirty
seamlessly
bitches.
now.
All of a sudden, Doug Fox is here, and he's like,
Hey guys.
Did you mention my name?
just a little blip in the corner of the screen, though.
Hey, can you hear me down here? Let's move to Indianapolis, traveling to
TF
Baltimore.
just said, hey now.
Hey, with love. It's all with love, TF. Indianapolis at Baltimore. Jeff, hit us with injuries, ways to win, score prediction, and we'll go from there.
On the bright side, the injury list isn't too long. The bad part is who's on the injury list. Kenny Moore didn't practice the second day, and he's one of probably the strongest secondary guy we've got right now. I'm hoping it's just kind of like rest, maintenance. He might be a little banged up, but before I get into all that, bad news: our rookie running back Evan Hull did tear his meniscus, so he's done for the year. It's a tough break, man. This was an opportunity for him to really shine, so that really sucks.
I like him.
He's fast. As we all know, Richardson's in the concussion protocol. Even if he clears it, he might be like backup, but I highly doubt they'll trot him out there to start with no practice. So it'll probably be Minshew Mania in Baltimore. And also the center, Kelly, is in concussion protocol, so he could probably go if he's been doing it for so long. But concussions are so unpredictable. It could be, a few days, it could be a few weeks. So I would lean on him probably not starting either. So it'll be French at center.
Okay.
I would assume. And
Quentin
Nelson has not participated in practice the last couple of days, but at first it was reported that it was like his toe or something like that, but yeah. So I feel like he will probably go. But yeah, it's just several big names on that report that sucks. So if Richardson does in fact not play, the way that they're going to win is they're going to have almost the same game plan they had against Houston. But Baltimore's a much better team, so they're going to have to finish these drives. They're not going to be able to win by putting up 3 points in the second or even first half, especially. So it's going to lean on Minshew being very efficient. It's going to lean on Moss, making it, second and 6, 3rd and 2, that kind of thing. It's going to really lean on the run game with him.
Pardon me. I think my Google Home is summoning the devil in my house.
Yay!
But do I stop or do I keep?
Just keep going. Just keep going. It's fine.
But I think the Colts right now have one of the best front sevens in the football, and if they're going to win, it's going to come down to them. They cannot let Lamar Jackson run around. They've got to get to him. They've got to make him beat him, with the arm. Problem is the secondary. So if he does throw it, there's probably going to be a guy open. I just don't trust Baker. I really hope we see Brents come out. Even Jalen Jones, who they basically kept Jones over Rush. They let Rush, leave. He went to, I can't remember what team he went to, but that was a surprising move. They like Jalen Jones better than him. So I hope they at least get these guys in a rotation if Brents isn't, just flat out the starter over Baker. But if it's Baker, man, it's going to be a rough day. But yeah, it's going to rely on that front seven getting to Lamar. They're going to have to create turnovers. They're going to have to make short fields for Minshew. But that's how I see them winning. They got to do what they did to the Texans in the first half and do it the entire game. Like it's going to have to come down to them. I think they can do it. The Colts are going to have to sustain some drives, even if it doesn't put up points. And points are, would be best. But even if it doesn't, get a couple of first downs, let your defense get their breath back. Because that was the biggest issue against Jacksonville. They just, they had the ball in midfield, got 3 yards, and then punted. Like that's not using any time. That's not giving your defense a break. So at least sustain some of these drives. But yeah, without Richardson and probably Kelly and maybe Kenny Moore, I want to say the Colts can win this game, but I feel like it'll probably go to Baltimore in Baltimore. And I'm going to guess like 28-20.
Okay. Let me write that down real quick. I'm pulling up Baltimore's injury report. Let's see. Marlon Humphrey.
Home field advantage.
Marlon Humphrey is questionable. What was your score prediction? One more time.
28-20 for Baltimore.
Okay. Marlon Humphrey is questionable. Justice Hill, the backup running back, is questionable. OBJ, questionable. Marcus Williams is questionable. Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum, the tackle and center, are both questionable. And then linebacker Odafe Owe is also questionable. So that's one. If OBJ, Justice Hill, and Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum don't go, you guys have quite the possibility of having the same kind of defensive output you guys had against the Ravens. I think it's quite possible. But
I just wanted to Titan Fox just said Lamar is so tough to blitz. He is, and I'm not even really talking about he's like Richardson, where he's almost like a magician in the pocket. He you think you have him and then he's gone. So I'm just more about like preventing him from getting outside, making him throw the ball, just making him uncomfortable because he's so fast.
Yeah.
So I don't really think they're going to pile up the sacks in this, but just make him very uncomfortable is what I hope they do.
Yeah. Just to kind of hash this out with the Browns, Zadarius Smith is questionable. Amari Cooper is questionable. Jedrick Wills, their tackle, is questionable. And Greg Newsome, their corner, is also questionable. Other guys are not, big enough names to worry about, I guess. So, like, I could see Minshew Mania pulling out a dub here. I could see it happening. But just because I can see it happening doesn't mean I think it's going to happen. I think the most likely outcome is still the Ravens and Lamar Jackson doing what the Ravens and Lamar Jackson do, which is somehow run the ball efficiently and for scores. So I'm going to say that the Ravens win this game 31-20.
Has Richardson been officially ruled out?
No, he's in concussion protocol, but I doubt he's going to go. Even if he does clear. He hasn't practiced and he's been in concussion. I just don't think they're going to try him out there.
So with my predictions, I assumed he would have been healthy by then, so I thought he was going to be the starter. And with that, I had Baltimore winning. The Colts honestly are better than I expected this year. But with Minshew playing, I kind of want to pick the Colts. I mean, I hope they lose.
Don't do
But
it. I'm sorry, Jeff.
I mean, you guys know,
Like, don't do it.
don't hide how much of a fan I am of Gardner Minshew. The guy, I mean, that dude is so much fun to watch. He had a good game last week, man. Best quarterback in the AFC South, and I'll stand by that.
We're in a high school team. Calm down.
Yeah, it's your
Curtis's words.
I'm trying to show love to your team, man.
I
I
said
appreciate it.
You're
It's
still
not
giving
that
him
much
too
of a
much
compliment. It's against Houston.
exactly. Exactly.
It's still an NFL team, but
Yeah, kind of.
Minshew, I do like Minshew a lot. Honestly, I think it's gonna be a close game just because Lamar Jackson is. I mean, you really never know what you're gonna get with Lamar Jackson, and you guys do have a good defense, and I think you guys can get him to run around. And if he does have to win with his arm, then it's hard to bet on him because he doesn't have the world's best arm in the world. He's gonna win you games on the ground, and honestly, your front seven is they're good, man. They can really corral him. As long as you have a spy on them, they just keep them contained in the pocket and make them throw. I think you guys have a shot. So honestly, like I do have Baltimore in my picks. Man, I might switch it. I think right now, I'm going to say 21-24 Indy with Gardner Minshew starting. If Anthony Richard plays, I think I'm definitely going to go Baltimore. Probably 40-3.
He's so much more of an X factor than Minshew.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Isaiah?
The Ravens suck, and I'll always stand by that. I hate the Ravens.
Hate the Ravens. Big Ravens hater.
Big
show.
Ravens hater for sure.
I mean, it hurt me to make that pick, but
yeah, I mean,
trash city,
yeah.
trash people,
Yeah.
trash team, everything
Yeah.
sucks.
trash quarterback, which is really a running. Yeah, it's yeah.
No
But
wonder Indianapolis left or the Colts left.
yeah, I know, right?
They went to Indianapolis. It's not that
They
much
didn't
better.
even say sorry. It's like when you
it's
like
nice,
you come.
man. That stadium is beautiful.
It's like when you come fast, you don't even say sorry. You just leave, you know. But anyways, so basically,
$20 on
Hold
the
on.
bed.
The Colts,
Yeah.
the
Jesus
Colts
Christ.
Irish goodbye an entire city
yeah,
in the middle of the night.
they cream
Just
pie
like,
like the sky, like they're out of there. But no,
the place where dreams are made.
I do have Baltimore winning as much as it hurt me to pick that. I don't think that the Colts front seven is great. I don't think that their front seven will be able to carry them with how bad their secondary and their offense will be under Minshew against the Colts or against the Ravens defense. They could pull it out and surprise me, but I'm not exactly convinced that Zach Moss is the answer. He had a pretty good game in week 1, but against the Texans defense, we'll see. I mean, again, it's just another year of people just running up the middle, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think Baltimore is going to win. I don't like Baltimore, but I had to pick them this week. But I would love to be wrong.
Give me a score.
27-13.
Damn.
Touchdown and 2 field goals.
Yeah, at least he's giving your kicker some credit.
At least make it 50 yards.
You guys are paying your kicker
Sure,
like
yeah, 2 50-plus yard field goals. There you go.
Thank you.
Effective as long as it doesn't pass more than 45 yards. Very true.
Yeah. Blake being nice and mean to Jeff at the same time. I'm dying here.
Bro's not passive aggressive. Bro's passive and aggressive.
All right. So that brings us to the third and final game of this weekend's slate for the AFC South. Houston traveling to the Glitter Kitty Den
Me too.
in Jacksonville to get slaughtered. So let's let somebody who's got positive things to say talk first. Isaiah?
I do have positive things to say. Positive number 1. Shaq Griffin is starting. Yes.
I was going to get to that.
Yes. Yeah, but that's positive. That's positive for me. It might be negative for you, and you can talk about it. But
yeah,
I had to watch this dude for 2 fucking years. All right, that's a positive for me. Okay.
I'm just glad he's still in the South and not in Tennessee.
Yeah,
And I'm glad the Colts didn't get him.
yeah.
Yeah, you were banging the table asking for him.
I'd rather have Baker.
I think this is a get right game. I think that Jacksonville's going to come out there. I think there's going to be some good play by our boys. You know, offense is going to bounce back. Hopefully, Petrie is questionable right now, isn't he?
Correct.
The other safety is out, isn't he?
No, Jimmy Ward has.
Is he also questionable?
He's
started
questionable, but he started
The Texans are questionable to play.
Sweet.
That's
Yes. So I mean that secondary is banged up. We got Shaq Griffin starting, so that's at least 2 blown coverage touchdowns for the game. I think Calvin Ridley, if his knee is 100% from last week, he's not on the injury report, but you know he hit the goalpost on one of them and had to come off the field for a minute. He was limping a little bit, so hopefully he's good to go. Zay Jones is hurt. He's questionable. We'll see if he plays. Josh Allen's questionable, but he'll play. It's a shoulder injury. They even said they're day to day, but they expect him to play. No real significant injuries besides them, besides the ones that are already on the IR that have been on the IR. But yeah, I think this is a get right game for Jacksonville. I think this could either be a typical Jacksonville Texans outing where Jacksonville just somehow shits the bed and maybe comes away with like a low win, or this is going to be a blowout. I'm hoping for the blowout. But I'm not expecting the blowout just because of how we've played them. I know I should.
Hoping
but
for too is the blowout.
Yeah. Anyways, 31-14. I don't think they'll score 14 points, Robert. Jacksonville's defense has been really good this year so far. They've forced a lot of turnovers. I think Stroud's going to throw his first interception this game. He might even have a pair of them. I think Trayvon Walker is going to get at least 2 sacks. He's played a lot better this year. I can see that happening. That Texans offensive line is really banged up right now. It's going to be a good game for Jacksonville. I think we should win this game handily. I don't want to do it, but I'm saying like 36-10. You know, I know that's a lot, but that's me. Like,
there's a lot of points for Houston. My God,
that's just me. You know, I'm trying to will it into existence. So our offenses look terrible. I mean, we scored 31 points against the Colts and looked bad. You know, I mean, that's because we were getting handed the ball on their 45. You know, I mean, it's not like we were driving 90 yards to do that. And Kansas City's defense handled us. I don't think that Texans defense is anything like the Colts or the Chiefs defense in the front 7, at least not as consistent across the board as they are. So I think we'll be able to move the ball pretty good. I think ETN will have a solid game. Bigsby will probably have a decent game. But you know, with Shaq Griffin starting and Petrie questionable, if Petrie doesn't play, I could see this being a 300-yard game for Lawrence. You know, I'll be there, so I would love to see that in person. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say besides that. I think that with how banged up the Texans are, it should be a handy win. What's up, buddy? Go Jags.
I'm still gonna wait. Blake.
So, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be 36-10. This is still a divisional game after all. So I do expect Houston to be at least semi-competitive. I mean, I have zero faith in CJ Stroud. He's just not a good quarterback. And also, your defense is just so banged up. Like, I feel like everyone on that secondary is injured. Is Stingley on IR? I saw that
Stingley's on IR.
Stingley's on an IR officially.
6 to 8 weeks, right?
Yep, 6 to 8 weeks with his hamstring injury.
Damn.
Yeah, I lurk in Texans groups. I didn't join it, but I'll lurk in the public ones, and it wasn't looking good. So yeah, it looks like there's too many injuries. I don't really like Trevor Lawrence. She's not a very good quarterback, but I think this could be her get right game where she could potentially put up 300 yards, but you know, not great. I do expect ETN to run. ETN, I mean, heck of a ball player. I think, you know, they just need to get back to fundamentals, and this should be their good get right game against Houston. But considering it is a divisional game, I think they'll win convincingly. I don't think it's going to be like a 26-point difference. I would say potentially, I think you guys will put up some points. I'd say maybe 31-20. I don't know. What's the spread for that game? Does anyone know?
The
9.5.
spread is
Oh,
on FanDuel it's 8.5.
Oh, on ESPN it's 9.5
Ooh.
last time I checked.
It'd be hard to bet on. It'd be hard to pick Houston for that. I would never bet on Houston. You just don't know. But yeah, I'd say maybe a 10, 11-point game in Jacksonville's favor. I pick Jacksonville to win this one. I think they will. This could be a get right game. Plus, it's at home. So I think I got to roll with Jacksonville for sure.
Yeah, it's a 9 flat on ESPN with a 71.2% chance Jacksonville.
What's the over under on that?
Ooh.
I didn't look.
I have not looked at the over under.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't even know where my phone's at.
Over under is 44.
Oh, I'd probably take that over.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull a Jeff.
Jacksonville's
Jacksonville's going to basically score the over.
I was like, Jacksonville definitely has. I wouldn't be shocked if Jacksonville puts up 38 on them. Like, I wouldn't be shocked, but just considering it's a divisional game, that kind of worries me a bit.
We
Just because you never know.
traditionally struggle against the Texans, and that's why I'm not expecting to win handily. We traditionally suck against the Texans, so
Yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, ETN, he had a pretty good game, if I recall, against Indianapolis. I think he put up almost 80 yards, 77, something like that. I think he had a decent game. They have one of the better run defenses right now in the NFL. So, I think ETN can kind of run all over Houston. I mean, if Zach Moss can do it, I think ETN should be able to do it. Trevor Lawrence, he's there are times where he's kind of up and down, but he's had a lot more ups than downs. I think he'll probably throw easily for another 300. I think ETN kind of probably breaks the century mark here. And I'm gonna go for kind of a janky score. It'll be like some weird ass play where the Texans get a safety or something. So I'm gonna say 28-5. I'll give them a safety and a field goal.
28-5. Jacksonville's going for 2 in this game. Because fuck them, that's why.
Just fuck them, that's why.
Also, shout out Jason in the chat. I recognize you from Wes Wisely's Titans page. So shout out Jason.
Nice.
Yeah, the chat's lighting up. I didn't realize that my thing was off.
Oh yeah. All right, so I guess it's my turn. So let's talk about the Texans, okay? The Texans have a league-leading 13 players on either injured reserve or PUP. Woo! The next closest has 9. Woo!
Who's that, the Titans?
No. I think it's the Commanders. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Titans are relatively healthy right now.
Yeah. With the addition of Stingley, that makes 13. They're hurt. They're hurting right now. Real desperate for some actual talent on this team that's not going to end up getting CJ Stroud annihilated and ruining for him what could be a very prosperous career if he can actually maintain this momentum that he's been building through the first 2 weeks. Poise is something that can be obliterated out of a young quarterback quite quickly with the wrong habits being formed, the wrong fears being instilled into him when he's behind the line of scrimmage during a play. So I'm a little worried. Okay. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense is pretty solid. They have a decent front seven when it comes to run stopping. They're top 10 for sure. So far through 2 weeks. So Dameon Pierce, who's only managed roughly 60 some odd yards and through 2 games on roughly 26 carries is starved for some healthy yards in any game this week or this year. With the offensive line being down to the third or fourth string center at this point, third string right guard or left guard, starting right guard, second string right tackle. Laramie Tunsil, presumably could be playing this week. He's questionable at this moment. Yeah, I know.
Robert.
It's like we're cosplaying as the Titans, but in Texans regale.
That was
But
good.
yeah, no, for real, it's bad. Ways to win for this Texans team: Jimmy Ward and Laramie Tunsil have to play.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud has to continue to build on the things that he's been able to do so far, and he has to be able to carry this entire offense on his shoulders to get them across the goal line numerous times, because the running game is not going to get going, and there's only a couple pass receivers on this team who are worth a damn. Everybody else is a little sketch or an unknown, and that's kind of sketch. So my prediction is that the Jags win 42-13.
Wow.
I do not expect this to be a close game in the slightest.
Curtis, are you a Titans fan in disguise? What is that?
No, I do not expect the Texans to put up much of a fight. The last time that the Texans played the Jaguars, it was in Houston, and the Jaguars walked away with a 38-3 victory. That was once the Jaguars had gotten rolling. That was around Christmas time. So yeah, there's a lot of bad going on in Houston, and it's only going to get worse until most of these guys get back from IR. There's not much to hang your hat on and be like, hey, at least this is going right for us right now, outside of CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. So if you're desperate fantasy-wise, those two might be interesting plays, because Nico's going to get targets. He's averaged 10 through the first 2 weeks, and he had 146 yards last week against the Colts. Obviously, the Jacksonville Jaguars are a little bit, not just a little bit, but they're significantly better in the corner department, and that'll present its own challenges. But yeah, I just don't think that the Texans will get much going, and it'll be far, far too late by the time it does. And the Jags are just a really good team, and it's going to be tough for the Texans to even be competitive. So,
You a Jags fan in this, guys?
I
understand Stroud hasn't thrown any picks. Have you had any fumbles yet this year?
one fumble,
Okay.
one fumble. Oh, two fumbles. Sorry.
Oh, so, okay. Well,
Yeah.
at least he's not turning the ball over too much. Like, the fact that he isn't throwing picks is a really good sign, especially when you compare him against, the first overall pick, Bryce Young, who's looking
Terrible.
horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's bad. Yeah, Stroud is better than I expected, so that's why I have a little more faith in Houston. I think it could be a little closer, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think your score is going to happen, Curtis, but we'll see.
Well, last
I
time
would love your score to happen, Curtis.
I know you would. I just feel like, realistically speaking, there's a bigger chance of that score happening than it is 20-13. With Stingley not being on the field, more than likely no Jalen Petrie. You got, the starters on the defensive line are solid, and the backups are sus, and they're also hurt. So, I mean, it's just kind of a rotating door, a revolving door, and it's just not good. It's not good.
I just hope that D'Amico Ryans doesn't get fired, like the way you guys do. He's so young, but man, the way you guys treat your head coaches sometimes, it's rough.
It's true.
I mean, D'Amico is such a good coach, and I want him to find success. I hate that he's in Houston, but it is poetic that he played for this team, now he's head coach. Yeah. But they need to give him a longer leash. Do you guys have a first-round pick next year?
Yeah, we have the Browns' first-round pick.
Okay, that's right.
So if you guys could beat them, that'd be great.
I got you. I'll do my best.
Yeah, pass that information along.
I'll cheer real hard.
Yeah. Now, to me, there's a real strong possibility. Sorry to get into draft talk already, but there's a real strong possibility that
way too early draft talk.
Yeah, real strong possibility the Cardinals end up with pick number 1 and pick number 2.
Be a nice combo.
Yeah, they'd be able to do whatever they wanted at either pick, and
they'll still bust both picks.
I mean, more than likely, they'll just draft Kyler Murray 2.0 somehow. in one of the deepest quarterback draft classes possible.
They'll drop Joe Milton first overall.
Oh God, that'd be hilarious. Just the stark contrast.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So let's give a brief overview of the show, and we'll go around and we'll get some fantasy points if nobody brought any up. So far, Blake has said that the Titans will win 31-21, the Colts will win 24-21, and that the Jags will win 31-20. I have said the Titans win 27-20, the Baltimore Ravens win 31-20, and the Jags 42-13. Isaiah, Cleveland wins 21-14, Baltimore wins 27-13, Jacksonville wins 36-2 or to 10, not 2.
I'm about to say I didn't say 2.
Yeah, no. Jeff says the Titans win 17-13, the Ravens 28-20, and the Jags win 28-5. That's happened to the Texans. We lost by that score before.
What a goober.
I think to the Cardinals.
Hey, if it happens, I'm going to start putting money on this shit. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you should do that anyway. You should be picking the money lines because you're pretty good at picking the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am winning in that league.
I know.
I won, but I'm winning.
All right. So, any last minute fantasy advice for anybody out there? In respect to your team?
Oh.
I'll go first with the Titans. I'll usually, again, as a rule of thumb, stay away from all the Titans when it comes to fantasy football, except Derrick Henry. So outside of Derrick Henry, I think the Titans defense could actually do pretty well this week. I'm one of those guys that play fantasy, and I pick matchups. So I'll willingly drop a defense at any given time, and I've done that multiple times. I'm starting the Titans defense in one of my leagues just because Watson, he's good for at least one turnover. Dude had a pick 6 last week, I think, against Pittsburgh. So it is possible. I think he'll definitely turn it over. Titans will definitely get some sacks on him. If you're struggling because of all of the injuries going on at running back right now, Tajay Spears, I think he's due for a touchdown. He keeps having the same amount of snaps as Derrick Henry. Again, week 1 he had more. So he's a good one to have, as a flex guy if you're struggling, or if you're in a really deep league, or you're just, you drafted Cooper Kupp and you drafted like Amari Cooper, I would go with Nick Westbrook because he keeps getting targets. Like, it's kind of hard to believe. He's not like a flashy player, but dude could get a touchdown, and who cares about who gets the touchdowns? You just need points in fantasy. And he's a guy that keeps getting targets a lot. I wouldn't start him. He's not in any of my leagues, but if you're hurting, that's not a bad idea. It's a sleeper.
Yeah.
Or if you're like in a FanDuel league where like you only have, like a couple $100 to like in those fictional bucks, in those daily leagues, he'd be a pretty good one to sneak in that because I'm sure he's real cheap in those daily leagues.
Yeah. Jeffrey?
Just point out that I am 2-0 in both of my ESPN leagues. On the Colts, there's 3 players in this game that I would look into picking up. Granson got his first touchdown. He seems to be kind of a target favorite of Minshew, and I believe Josh Downs should be one of those targets. Minshew likes the little short intermediate routes, the quick hitters, and that's something that Downs specializes in. So those are 2 Colts players I'm looking at, and the third player I'm looking at is whoever Baker is covered.
Yeah,
for Baltimore.
Yeah,
because he was fucking burnt by Nico Collins. And I'm not saying Nico's bad. Jesus Christ, there was no effort.
Yeah.
So yeah, whoever
Zay Flowers there.
Yeah, Zay Flowers had a pretty decent season so far.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah?
I could see Jags defense doing pretty good in this game. Mainly because I think they're going to force some turnovers, they're going to get some sacks. Calvin Ridley, potentially, depending on what they can move him around a little bit. Christian Kirk, I think he's all fantasied out after last week. But Trevor Lawrence and ETN. We got a couple of guys I think could go off this week, but we'll see.
Okay. I'm leaning that you don't really start any Texans players this week. If you had to, if you're in that kind of league where it's deep as hell, Nico Collins, CJ Stroud. Stroud's looked pretty good this year, even despite being sacked 11 times, which leads the NFL. there's a lot that he does very right. He does a lot of very, very accurate passes on anticipation throws. And he's going to get his yards. The Ravens defense is no slouch. The Colts defense is no slouch. We're going to see something happening over the next couple weeks because we play some pretty stout defenses in the Jags and next week the Steelers. So it should be interesting. Again, CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, don't touch anyone else. Don't start Dameon Pierce. You could start Kaimi Fairbairn. He's only missed 1 field goal. And I think he's only missed 4 field goals since the start of 2021. So pretty productive player. Anybody else got anything maybe not particular to your team? No?
I did forget Nick Folk. You were talking about kicker, and that reminded me. If you can pick up Nick Folk, do it. Because the Titans kick so many field goals, we don't score touchdowns, and he seems pretty automatic this year.
Yeah. Sucks the Titans get a kicker who's 39 years old.
God, I know. We finally get a kicker, and he's 100. And he looks a lot older than 39.
Yeah. Well, he played several years in Dallas, so that's going to do it to a man. But
Yeah.
all right. Well, boys, I want to thank you for your time and your insights for your teams. Folks in the chat, let's get to some of your comments before we get out of here. Robert says Stroud can run next QB with a concussion. Titan Fox says, I respect your honesty, Curtis. No fantasies. Darkest before the dawn, which is very true. Isn't the Texans team up there in pressures from Robert? Yeah, they get a fair amount of pressures, but pressures
Aren't sacks.
Yeah, they're not. Who cares? Jeff, 22 years now. What?
Oh, the darkest before the dawn. I was joking around about that.
Oh, except for the 6 years we won the division. It's only been since 2017 since we beat you at home. Robert says about the Jags Texans game. Duval, may we actually beat the Texans? Skarnhorst. And then Robert with a thumbs up. All right, boys. Thank you. We're trying to hit the like, subscribe goal, 25 likes. We're trying to get 40 more subscribers by the end of the month. We're at 360, trying to hit that 400 number. So, folks, be good people. And if you guys got any final comments, let's hit them.
Yeah. If you're watching, hit like right now.
Go Colts, hit like, subscribe, and share.
It was never the Titans.
It was never the Titans.
And